Welcome back to another cast brought to you by StarcastTV. This time we have a best of 3 between Rush and YSC. For those of you who do not know who YSC and Rush are, Rush was a player for CJ Entis. He wasn't a huge name back then, but he was on the brink of really making a name for himself. So he's a really strong Terran player. And on the other side we do have YSC. He was on Samsung Khan. I don't think he was as strong as Rush back in those days, but he is very good, and we do know him from some of the tournaments such as Have At You. He's played in a lot of foreign tournaments, and actually he's made it into the current ASL, so that's very impressive from him to actually make it into the ASL, because you really don't see that many amateurs in the ASL. So this time in our best of 3 we are going to have mostly I think it is all foreign made maps. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are BSL maps, but they are going to be foreign made maps. And this map is Bubbles. So if we take a look at the map layout of this particular map, it's almost identical to Fighting Spirit. All the bases are the 4 corners. We've got the naturals look very similar. The only thing that is really different is that the pathways to the third base seem a little bit bigger. We also have double bridges, but other than that, everything is pretty much the same. So because it's pretty standard, you can expect both of these players to probably just play pretty normal. They're going to be feeling pretty good on a map like this. Now we do see that Rush is going for a forward Rax, and generally this means that we're going to have a gasless expand. I have seen a few times players like Flash kind of go for a mind game, put it on the low ground, and then end up going back gas behind it. But that's not what Rush is going to be going for. And at bottom right we do have YSC just going for a standard gate. Gonna have a cybernetics follow-up. Now we're gonna have to wait and see, does he want to build a zealot? There is that zealot, so he does want to put a bit of pressure on. And because top right doesn't look like it's as SimCity-able as top right on Fighting Spirit, and I'm not really seeing a good depot placement here. Maybe here's a good depot placement. This is obviously where the command center is. Unlike Fighting Spirit on top right, when you build your barracks right here, it completes a full wall for the zealot. So this zealot might actually get off a decent amount of damage. And we do have the cybernetics about 70% done. Probe comes in and sees that it's a gasless expand. And Rush is going to desperately need to get up some more Marines. And he's probably going to need a bunker, because without a depot, it's going to be so hard to actually push this zealot back. Probe dealing a bit of damage to the SCV, honestly. Almost gets it down to... Ooh, where's this zealot going? Looks like YSC has misrallied. No reason for it to move there. He could have been almost across the map at this point. So that's a huge misstep from him. I'm not too sure if that was just a misrally or if he was trying to catch the SCV, but regardless, a pretty big mistake. Now he has the option to hide tech if he wants to. His goon's going to pop out before the SCV actually gets into position. Doesn't look like he's going to go for something like a DT rush at all. But here comes the first zealot. Marine is way too far out. YSC already gets off a good hit, gets a 2-shot kill onto the Marine when comboing it with that probe. And now we have a zealot into the main. And if we look at the income for for Rush, factory should be coming down pretty soon. But with this zealot harassment, he may just be... Oh, almost gets he gets a second Marine for pretty much free, only losing the probe. Now, he did get his factory down at a pretty good timing, but this zealot is dealing way too much damage, and Rush is in trouble. The goon is just going to come back and deal with this SCV for now. He's not going to put any pressure onto the bunker just yet. But really, Rush, he doesn't want to build more Marines at this point. He's already had to build an extra 2 so far. Now the zealot, how many more kills can he get? Honestly, the SCV control from Rush is really damn good. You would have expected the zealot to get even more damage than it's already done. But so far, only 2 kills and only being Marines. No SCV kills at all. And behind this, YSC has taken a Nexus. He also is going to put down a robotics pretty soon. He's approaching the money that he would need to get that down. We are just waiting for that to come in. But overall, good harassment done from our Protoss player. Now still Rush has an SCV lead, 27 to 23, but this is normal when you go for a gasless. Goons at the front, going to try and harass this bunker just a little bit, and there is the robotics as expected. Now we see Reaver play quite often these days, and it's gonna be highly likely that he also goes for Reaver play since he knows he's delayed the factory quite a bit. And because of that, Rush is actually going to be going for a starport. I guess he's anticipating Reaver follow-up. It's so common. But also Rush is one of the few players that is actually really aggressive. He does not mind just all-inning you on 2-base. He wants to get in your face. So this might not necessarily be for a Wraith to counter the drop. This could just be straight into a dropship. But since we're not getting speed or mines, I actually think that this could just be for Wraith. But nope, there is the add-on. Meanwhile, 3 goons harassing the natural, but perfect defense so far from Rush. Siege is going to be coming in pretty soon. There's the Vulture starting to be built. And really, YSC isn't going to suspect a thing. Seeing Siege mode is not going to give away any type of opener from Rush. And in response, YSC is going to take a fast second Nexus since he knows that the time for Rush to get up critical mass of units is going to be quite a while. Especially now that he's seen Siege. Don't want to lose that goon. So he is just going to slowly pull back on the bunker, get as much damage as he possibly can, just be super annoying. Now back in the main of YSC, it is just 3-gate robotics with Observer, which is actually going to be a good counter for what Rush is doing. The drop's going to come in here. More than likely, we're just going to be set up in our main with 4 goons or so, and also at the natural. And really, it's going to be very hard for Rush to get much damage done. Oh, it's actually 1 tank and 2 vultures. Now, this is an expensive drop because when we're on 1 factory, which YSC is going to know after seeing this dropship come in, it's going to take such a long time to actually build up a critical amount of tanks. And really, tanks are the backbone of your army. So I'm a bit surprised that he's showing that he's going to send a tank here. But maybe he is just going to go fantasy style, set up mines with 1 tank in the back of the base. That is what he's going to do. Sieges it up, and now these probes have to escape. Oh, a big tank shot. Only gets 2 kills, though. It's up to 4 kills now, though. But he at least gets to see what YSC is doing. And actually, he's going to save this tank for now. The dropship has taken no damage. Oh, he might run into mines. Kills several probes, kills several goons. This drop has done way more damage than I was anticipating. He may even get more probes. Oh, a huge hit, taking out 5 more probes. So that's, I think he got 1 goon kill with his tank. So 9 probes going down for YSC, and he's in trouble. He luckily has triple Nexus. But after seeing a 3-gate opener and Observer, Rush knows that this was a second base taken pretty quickly. And in response, we see instantly a couple more factories being put down. We may see 5 or 6 fact follow-up, potentially even 7 fact follow-up, and just go for 1 big killing move. He's up 18 workers at this point. Just absurd econ for him. I would actually really love for him to go into the 7 fact timing or 5 fact timing, even with his +1 already coming in. But instead, he is just going to take a command center. Remember, he already has the starport, so he can just go straight into science facility. It's not a huge investment for him since he's already got the starport. There is the 4th and 5th factory. Academy is top right. He doesn't necessarily even need it at this point because he saw nothing in the main and he got a full scout off with the Vulture and tank. But this is great for Rush. He is setting up to go into a just beautiful mid game. Potentially just get an easy killing move on his first max and push out. Now, where is that science facility? There it is. So it is going to be another +2 timing, just with a unorthodox opener going for the Vulture and tank drop. And this is going to allow Rush to have something like a 14-minute max, which is pretty good, especially if you're opening with a starport. So command center is done. It's going to start floating it to mid-right pretty soon. Back at YSC, we have the Citadel coming in. It's halfway done. Forge is already done. And to give you perspective on how delayed the Citadel is, usually you're building it at around 7 minutes. That it lets you get like a 12-minute Arbiter. So this is going to be a 14-minute Arbiter or 15-minute Arbiter. So it's super delayed. Vultures get into the 3rd base, get a few probe kills. Not a lot of damage though. But Rush is just crushing it. And I am very surprised that we see a Reaver coming in for YSC. It felt like if we were going to go Reaver, we needed to open Reaver instead of going for Observer. But because of how delayed it is, Rush is not going to suspect a thing. It's going to be very surprising that there's actually a Reaver coming to his base. Now there's a scan. What does he see? Looks like he did see the support bay. He does see the Stargate and Temple Archive timing. So now he knows that there is a Reaver out on the map somewhere. And it actually has speed too, so a big investment. Here it comes, only one turret. I don't think we have any Goliaths either. So actually, it can deal damage in the main. It actually scoots around the turret. No reaction from Rush so far. Only gets a couple of kills on that Reaver, but he's going to try and focus down this armory. And actually, this is the one that has +1 weapon spinning. So this could be a good denial to deny +2. Also get the supply depots. 3 depots in 1 round of Reaver shots. Not able to actually kill many units, but the damage was done. This was a good drop from YSC. He's evened up the supply. He's caught up in probes also. It's now even. Of course, Protoss still does not like this position being even in supply versus Terran, but at least he nullified the +2 timing. That's a huge win for him. And we see that Rush cancel +1 armor to continue getting his +2. Now back on YSC side of the map, Arbiter Tribunal halfway done. Third base still not landed for Rush. Despite dealing so much damage, he's being very hesitant to actually take his third base. So YSC is catching up pretty fast, but Rush has so many SCVs. He's at 71. When he actually takes this base, he's going to have a huge influx of minerals. Now, because he has so many SCVs, this actually makes me think we may go for split map scenario. 70, 75 is about the magic number you want for 4 base. 3 base, we're kind of pushing it. Generally about 60 is pretty good. So we may just see a defensive stance coming in from Rush despite having such a good opening move. Now YSC, he's taking bottom left. That's the 4th base going up. Arbiter has started. I don't see Storm anywhere. Let's turn on the production tab. Well, actually, let's turn it off. But here comes another drop. Reaver going to try and get as many kills as possible. I think now it's probably just going to suicide. Reavers are hard to control in the mid and late game, so it's not even like a huge loss for him to lose the Reaver. I think it's pretty much fine. But if he's going to continue to build shuttles, then I kind of wish he had saved it. But he's going to try and Bulldog top right, but SCV's being pulled. There's only 4 tanks though, but the SCV reaction was pretty quick. Allows him to get in position on top of the ramp and should be able to take minimal losses. We see a huge swing of supply in favor of Rush, up 30 now. He has 81 SCVs though, so that could come back to bite him. But because YSC is also playing heavy macro style with 75 probes, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I've been facing more Protoss players these days that just stay on like 55 probes, and then they just have an absurd amount of units. But here comes Rush. +2 is going to be pretty close to kicking in. It's about 75% of the way done, and he's just got a stranglehold on the bottom side, or yeah, near bottom right, pushing into the natural of YSC. Now the Arbiter, it's about to finish, but unless it gets stasis, the Arbiter is really not going to be that great in this upcoming fight. So YSC needs to buy a bit of time to get up that 50 energy. Usually it takes about, I think, 65 seconds. But he doesn't have any time. These tanks are already here. Just siege up 3 or 4 tanks, focus down that Nexus. And because the entrance is so big, we can spam so many turrets here. But the Arbiter is out. YSC is looping around, trying to find the best angle to attack. But really, there's not a good angle. There's only 5 tanks. I guess that's what he's got going for him. But we need more Zealots. I see a lot of goons. But where are the Zealots? Almost pure goon at this point. I don't think this is the comp he needs. But here he comes. He's coming down low ground. Drop right on top of the tanks. DT is here. This has not been scanned just yet. But Zealots actually do clean up a majority of the tanks. But still a 20 supply lead for Rush. But it's all in workers. And the more workers he has, that's the tinier his actual army is going to be. So Rush has to be very careful to have a worker count like this. But so far, it looks like he may be able to push through. I don't know exactly what happened to the Arbiter. Okay, there it is. It is just sitting over the ledge. So close to actually dying. That would have been a catastrophe for YSC. But he does manage to save his Nexus. He does have 5 base coming up. Rush is taking top left. +2 weapon has kicked in. Instantly starts +3. EMP is coming in also. But the 88 workers, this is really, really not the greatest count for Rush. Sure, he's going to mine really fast. But I think that YSC is just going to flat out trade much better than him. Even though the upgrades are stronger for Terran right now, Protoss is not slacking on the upgrades that much either. He's got +1 Looks like, can we get a click on that? Okay, +2 just started, so that's actually kind of far away, and he really does need to get +2 pretty quickly. But as long as YSC can just keep Rush back, I think he's in an okay position. He's still down 20 supply. There's really not that many tanks, and they're very spread. It's like 7 tanks, but they're super spread out, so it's really not a strong comp. Just goons can probably overwhelm an army like this. YSC is slowly getting closer and closer to max. He's got so many gateways, 12 gate. Looks like we're setting up for a recall somewhere. Here is that Arbiter. He's got to try and avoid the turrets. And oh, can he get off the recall? I don't think he can. He does. Somehow gets into the third base. And because the army supply is so low for Rush, actually there's 0 defense here. A full SCV pull. He may even lose this command center. And he really doesn't have that much of his natural to come and defend it. It's a late pull to try and save this base. So this command center, I think, is just going to die if he focuses it down. He is going to get it. Oh, no, he's actually going to let it get away with such little health. Oh, he does pick it up. But meanwhile, bottom left, tank counterattack, but it's only 2 tanks. I think if we get a couple units out, there we go, the 2 DTs, he can save this base. And we do have a supply lead for YSC. Tanks so spread out that they are kind of just getting picked off one by one at YSC's entrance. And I think Rush is honestly falling apart. Top left has also been denied. And now we're on 2 base mining as Terran. And because we had such a huge SCV count, we're mined out in our main and natural. Rush just cannot. He's not mining. He has no econ. Meanwhile, YSC is going strong. His third is fine. Nat has a decent amount of money. Main doesn't really, but he's also got a 5th base there. And YSC has brought back an almost unwinnable game. It's still not over, but this was amazing. Rush is one of the best Terrans these days, and he's one of the best Terran vs. Protoss players too. So really impressive that YSC is to recover that well from really a devastating drop. He even manages to save the bottom left nexus. But that is a lot of mech moving across. Do we have another Arbiter somewhere? There it is, mid-right. Looks like he may want to recall mid-right again. There's no command center. He's going to come in here and wonder, well, where's your units, man? Where's your command center? Is he going to go straight into the main? He's going to see this command center right here, may just recall right on top of it. That is what he's going to do. Maybe? Maybe? Bottom left is getting killed, though. And it's going to be the Nexus going down at the natural, and also the main Nexus. So actually both players are just slugging it out. Recall did occur at that command center, and that's a tank going down. Getting a lot of SCVs here. I like that the shuttle was also recalled, but he needs to make sure he doesn't lose it. Well, he gets some more harassment into the main, and now the bottom Nexus is also under threat, but there's an Arbiter here, and how many scans? We have only 1 scanner, only 2 scans left. Luckily, there's a vessel for vision. Has Rush brought it? I thought YSC was actually going to come back, but it looks like Rush just may have a little bit too much. He's got +3 weapon. Such a huge power spike, but YSC picking off all these command centers, and also he's denying reinforcements. That's the main thing, is that Rush can't sync up the rest of his army. If YSC can just kill this task force at the bottom, he's going to be fine. He's up 30 supply. Nexus goes down, but he still has his natural up and running. He's got his Nexus at bottom left still up. It's not mining though, but if he can save that, that is another base that is going to have, you know, potential minerals available to mine. The drop finally gets cleaned up. Rush has started to float a command center to the middle of the map, but he's down 40 supply. He's not mining at all. He's long distance mining the middle, and I think YSC has done it. We have 1 Arbiter only, 2nd Arbiter coming out pretty soon. Actually, a 3rd Arbiter at the mid-right. And if he has stasis, he can honestly stasis the entirety of Rush's army. 103 supply versus 155. This is YSC's game to take. He knows exactly where Rush is. He could only be in the middle at this point, and I think this is just going to be the killing move. There's just so much Protoss. There's Storm also mixed in now. He's got double Storm available. He's double expanded to bottom left. Now here he comes. He wants to kill this base. Defensive matrix goes down. That is a lot of goons, and really we need more zealots. but more units coming in from the top. But again, it's only goons versus mass tank with defensive matrix. A great stasis eliminates half of the tank line, and it's just too much Protoss at this point. Good trade from Rush as a last stand, but just a little bit too much. Too many SCVs mined out too quickly. Never able to get a fourth base up and running. And YSC takes a very, very weird game one. So that was great. I really thought that YSC was down and out. So a nice recovery from him. And going into the series, I think Rush was a bit of a favorite, but YSC clearly showing us that he can match some of the best Terrans in the world. So let's just get straight into game two. Our second map is going to be Clayfields, another new foreign main map. It is in the BSL. We've seen quite a few good games on this map. Again, another standard map. We'll take a look at the map. Very similar to Fighting Spirit. We've got YSC at bottom right, Rush at top left. If we take a look at the naturals, looks almost identical to Fighting Spirit natural at top left at least. Bottom right also very similar. So again, we're probably going to have a similar game to any Fighting Spirit games that you've ever seen. Also very similar to the Bubbles map that we just saw. But yeah, Rush had a really good opener, and you're going to be feeling a little bit disappointed in yourself to have such a good lead, killing 9 SCVs, or killing 9 probes in a goon with 2 vultures and 1 tank. I also think he kept the dropship alive, so he had the potential to go back in for more drop play. And when you get damage done like that, you just feel fantastic. So for it to slip away, I really hope that it's not affecting Rush's mental state. But I wonder if he's going to go for gasless again. He's got a good spawn for it. It's cross positions. The Zealot did a lot of damage for YSC, yet still was not enough to keep Rush's econ in check. Now, what is YSC going to go for? We do have the gateway coming down. And we are just going to wait to see if it is going to be a Zealot or if it's going to be straight cybernetics. Now, we have multiple SCVs being queued up. Okay, there's the barracks. I was wondering if this was just going to be a 14 command center. But it is just going to be a slightly later barracks, and he's going to go straight into gas. So this time it's going to be a 12 gas opener. We've been seeing this pretty much almost every game these days. Gasless really has fallen off quite a bit in the past few months. So I was a little bit surprised that we just saw it in our opening game. Now the gateway is done in instant Zealot, so it looks like this is just YSC's default opener, and it's not bad. But with 12 gas being so common, I'm a little bit surprised that the cybernetics straight is not the default opener. Maybe cybernetics first into Zealot, because even though the Zealot is going to be a little bit slower, at least you have your tech coming in a bit faster. Now we do only have 2 on gas, okay, 3 on gas now for YSC. I thought that might mean something, but it doesn't look like it does. And we do have factory coming down pretty soon for Rush. There it is. And we do pull off of gas, leaving only 1 behind. So it is not going to be anything like Artosis style, where we're going to have a 2 fact coming in, or a 1 fact, 1 starport. This is just going to be a standard follow-up. Now, if you watch Ample streams these days, he's been doing a lot of FD, so we won't discredit FD just yet. But really, I personally am not a big fan of FD pushes, but that is a potential play. Now, the fact that it is cross-spawn kind of eliminates an FD push, because it's just too far to push across the map and actually get damage done. But you never know, Rush could just mix it up. He knows who he's playing against. It's obviously a very knowledgeable player, so sometimes doing unorthodox moves end up working out quite well for you. Now, this time, SCV is in position on the ramp. I really don't expect this Zealot to do much damage at all. Would like to see him focus down the probe, but instead, actually the Zealot and probe get in, and probe and Zealot hit do connect onto that 1 Marine, so it's very low, already at 19 health. Can he finish it off? No, he's just bruising those Marines. He does still get 2 Marines there, probe finishing the job on 1 of them, and he's also forced out a vulture, and then an accidental liftoff there delays the tank a considerable amount of time. Now YSC back in his main, there's no robotics or citadel coming in, so there's no 1 base. He does go for the standard nexus, but he did a good job delaying the command center quite a bit and also forcing out a vulture that Rush doesn't necessarily want. And because he has such a low marine count, he's feeling obligated to actually just build the command center on the high ground. So a command center that's not on location, it's gonna be, you know, a little bit of a hit to Rush's econ, whereas the Nexus is obviously on location. So a nice move there from YSC to get a little bit of damage done. Robo coming in, and we already saw Observer last game. Now because this is not a gasless opener, and because we don't have the map control that we did have like we did last game, I really do think that this is just going to be straight Reaver as opposed to straight Observer. Now again, Rush is going for the starport, and this must just be his favorite style to go for, because really you do not see this quite often. And YSC thinks something is up because the Zealot or the Goon came in, didn't see a command center, didn't see a tank or vulture or bunker or anything, and now he's just going to head home. And this really could be anything. It could be FD, it could be a hidden second factory. So now I think this is going to be an observer. There is the observatory, because you need to know if it's mines. If you're getting pushed and it's mines, you need to have something to clear out the mines. So this is a nice, pretty standard opener from YSC. The first few mines are coming out. It's 3 vultures. Starport is done. Just getting on the add-on. But this time, I think the drop is going to be a bit slower than last game. So I think YSC should be more prepared. I don't think he's going to take as many losses. It's pretty much an identical opener for him. It's 3 gate observer. No Nexus just yet. But other than that, everything is pretty much the same. Now, the probe did come out and saw that it was vultures. And he did see that mines have being upgraded as long as he clicked the vulture. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that it's drops, because vulture mine openers are very common these days just to get a little bit of map control. Even if they don't kill goons, they give you vision. So if something like a shuttle runs over them, you know it's coming and you can prepare in advance. Meanwhile, we do have the first dropship coming out. We have eBay coming in, 2 FAC coming in. More and more vultures. This is 6 vultures. So Rush, he wants to sync up, or he wants to harass the main, and then while the harassment happens in the main, actually just run into the natural and get probe kills. So again, YSC is going to need to have good defense, and actually with these goons moving out of position, this might be the perfect time to strike. This is what I was talking about with the mines. He sees that the goons are out, so this could be time to go with these vultures on the right side of the map. But YSC knows that Rush is a very aggressive player. He's got pylons preemptively set up in position, but there is a gap for now. He needs to leave this probe here in case a vulture run by. Okay, or he can just wall it off completely. Here comes that drop. Here come more vultures. Now back on the other side of the map, we have actually no defense for Rush. It's 1 bunker, 2 marines, 1 tank, but the vultures are in the main, so this is going to be a base trade scenario. There's no defense right now for YSC at all. 3 goons are about to pop up. They haven't popped out just yet. Meanwhile, the entrance is pylon tight, so they're not able to get in. But this one bunker is going to have to save the day. It's dealing with the Dragoons very well. It's 8 goons versus 1 bunker. It's only 7 SCVs mining though, but the tank kills one of the goons, and actually the bunker is just going to be able to fend off these tanks forever. Vultures somehow get in with an elevator, and YSC has lost so many probes now, just like last game, 39 to 23. Dragoons can't bust the bunker. Now that siege mode is completed, he's going to have to back off. Another elevator into the main. Rush dealing so much damage with this drop play. 2 more probes going down, 3 more going down, 4 going down, 5 just devastating losses. 41 SCVs to 22 probes. And again, just like last game, I think Rush really should just follow up with something like a 5 or 6 FAC. He's got his armory started, or armory done. He's starting +1. And he's delayed the tech of YSC considerably. So really YSC, in order to fend off an attack now, he needs to get a Reaver. He cannot go straight into Arbiter. He cannot take a 3rd base. And this was just ridiculous amounts of damage with these 2, or with these 6 vultures that came out. Dropship is going to find 2 more vultures and try and get into the main again. No defense at all. YSC knows that this is coming, and he does send a few goons in, and he is going to easily nullify this drop. Now also gets the dropship. So vultures go down, dropship goes down, but the damage was done. This is what you needed to do as a Terran player. Otherwise, you're in deep trouble opening with a dropship play. Now behind this, Rush has started to put down his third factory. He's starting to pump out more tanks. He's got a Wraith coming in, because really the only way that YSC can ever get back into this game is deal some damage with a Reaver or something like a DT drop. But he saw that there's no Citadel, so the only chance of, or the only thing that YSC could really go for is the Reaver. So I like that he is building a preemptive Wraith. I would even like to see a second one, but one is just fine with a turret ring, so that could be a-okay for him. There's the fourth factory, fifth factory, and there is the academy again. So everything looks very similar to what we just saw in game 1, and I don't blame Rush for going for it, because it had really good success in the initial game, other than us building way too many SCVs. So Rush is setting up to go for a killing move within the next probably 4 minutes. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to build a science facility. There's the second armory, so that does lead me to believe that this is just going to be another +2 weapon timing instead of going for a +1 Hanbang attack. Oh, vultures scoot by! Luckily, some zealots pop out to prevent them getting into the main, but the vultures do get 3 or 4 3 or 4 probe kills. So another big catch, keeping the probe count at 36. A Reaver coming in for YSC. He's got speed coming in. This is really his only hope to get back into the game. He's kept the supply relatively close, 85 to 81, but you're always looking to be ahead in supply as Protoss. Nexus is actually done for YSC, which is great, but he needs to start mining there. And really, he needs to get his tech going. He's got +1 weapon halfway done, so that's actually very nice for him. Citadel is done, but I don't see Templar Archive anywhere. I don't see Stargate anywhere. I hear a scan has gone off. Another drop coming into bottom middle. 3 vultures right before the cannon finishes. This is just heartbreaking for YSC. He's taking so much damage to just minimal vulture harassment. It's only 3 vultures. 4 probes go down, almost 5. Really nicely done. And we are just slowly building up our tank count, and this is exactly what you should do as Terran. Just harass as much as you can with these free vulture units while slowly building up your tank count. He's now got 7. Really, 9 would be a good number at this point in the game. There's not an overwhelming amount of goons, and he's decided that having +1 weapon, having these 9 tanks, that's more than enough. He's got 6 factories. Clayfields having this high ground advantage allows him to set up a contain on the natural while also pushing the third base. So this is actually just a fantastic attack from Rush. He just has to make sure that he doesn't take critical losses to this Reaver. Looks like YSC is going to try and fight this. It's a 1 Reaver in a shuttle with speed, a handful of goons. Now Rush, I saw the Wraith somewhere, but I don't see it anywhere. Okay, there it is. It just came in and died. But that's not a huge loss. Meanwhile, another vulture attack to the natural, getting a decent amount of kills onto the probe line. Just so annoying. Tanks get a few goon kills in the center map. Now it's a 20 supply lead for Rush. I really just think it is, again, his game to lose at this point. Sit up on the high ground, contain the nat while pushing bottom middle. Seems like that's the plan here. The vultures do get found and are going to get taken out by these goons and reavers, but again, not a huge loss. Third command center is landed for Rush. +2 weapon has started. It's actually almost done. So we're going to have our big power spike in about a minute from now. Meanwhile, Stargate just started for YSC and it got instantly scanned. So Rush knows that he has a huge window of opportunity to go for an attack. He doesn't necessarily have to attack now. He can sit here and wait 3 minutes and it'll still be fine. He may even wait for +3. That's how late the Stargate is. But more than likely, once we get our +2, it's going to be go time. We've got 8 factories, 7 factories actually. Killer econ on 3 base. We've taken no damage to the Reaver. DTs are coming out for YSC, but turrets are already in position and should take them out relatively easily. So like last game, YSC is going to have a massive comeback. DT gets instantly taken out. And I'm just not seeing it this game. There's too much of a supply lead. We don't have tech. We don't have arbiters coming out. We don't have storm coming in. The Reavers did nothing. We've got speed on the shuttle, so Reaver or mass drop can be deadly. But at this point in the game, I think we just have too much production. Third gas going up for Rush. Everything is just starting to kick in for him. We even have a science vessel coming out. Vultures into the third base. Find some more probe kills. Just decimating the probe line all day long. I actually think that we could have gotten away with not going for the probes on this particular run by. Instead just maxing out and going for a killing move. But it doesn't matter at this point. It's only 110 supply Protoss with only 6 gateways versus a Terran that has 7 factory. He's got +3 started right now. And Terran's up supply. So really we are just waiting for Rush to get a consolidated army. He's laying a few mines here and there. He's got his tank count at around 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 tanks. Looks like these just popped out. So 20 tanks. Once you hit 20 tanks, my personal opinion is that's like just an absurd amount of money. Or an absurd amount of tanks to have. And that's really critical mass. 16 to 20, pretty good. But once you reach 20, you're really hitting like a truck. I don't even think he has to siege at this point. He just has so much stuff. But it looks like he has scanned something that he didn't like. He is just going to slowly turn around. Okay, never mind. He is going to keep going. Now he sees that the goon count is extremely low. This is go time. He does siege up. Going to get off a big shot there. Takes out one goon. And on YSC side of the map, Arbiter is only halfway done. With no energy and no Arbiter at all to really fend off this push, he's going to have to go for it. Tries to shuttle bomb the tanks. It was actually a pretty good shuttle bomb, but it just doesn't matter. We have too much Terran. Shuttle goes down. That's going to make the Reaver almost useless. He's trying to micro it. Actually got off probably the maximum amount of damage he possibly can with this Reaver, but it finally goes down. Arbiter has to be out right now, and it has to get its energy out pretty soon if he wants to actually push this back. Defensive Matrix coming in. This is more than likely YSC's last stand. He's going without his Arbiter kicking in, and usually that means that we're desperate. And he is. It's 120 to 84. We're almost on top of the natural now. We almost are on top of that high ground. And once Terran gets into that position with mine reinforcement and Goliath reinforcement, also comboed with our vessel that's already out, it's just going to be lights out for Protoss. So this is going to be Rush evening up the series unless there's some type of miraculous hold. But with our army comp being pure goon, I'm just not seeing it. We have almost twice as many tanks as we have goons at this point. There's only 7 goons versus something like 15 tanks. Fourth base is going to be denied. There are those vultures that we were waiting for. We're at 40 supply. This is just going to be probably one more attack from YSC. Try and fend it off, but it's not going to happen. There's just too much, or he's just going to give it up. GG. Nicely done from Rush. And again, vultures just decimating the Protoss probe line. So it looks like that's the weak point for YSC, and I find that a bit shocking because to me he's one of the better defensive players. So let's get into game 3, see who can actually win this series. It's tied up 1-1. We're now back down to a best of 1. And our final map is going to be Quintessence, one of the maps in BSL along with Clay Fields. We've only seen it a couple times. It's a very interesting map. Reminds me of one of the old school maps called Gamma Gowan. But let's just say the spawn positions. We've got Rush at top left in the green, and we do have, well, let's change these colors. No, we can't change them. And we do have YSC in top middle as the teal. So Gamma Gowan was a very old map in the Boxer days, and one of the things it had was it had this high ground third base behind your natural. Now it didn't have these buildings in front of it, but you can mine these out. You can mine the minerals out, you can kill the building, and then you do have access to the third base with something like Vulture Run By again, but I don't think YSC is going to do that. But other than that, this map does look pretty standard, other than the fact that there are 5 spawn locations here, 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 and here. But so far, out of all of the maps we've played so far, this is definitely the most unusual, and I have played it, I think, once or twice, and actually my scouting SCV went the wrong direction because I misclicked because I wasn't exactly sure where the spawns were. So these players are going to need to be very careful to not misclick like this. Now this looks like it may have been, no, thought it might have been a 10-10-10, but this is just a standard depot timing. Now YSC This looks like we're going to have a 12 Nexus because we don't have the gate coming in. I think this is honestly a very good choice because more than likely, Rush is probably just going to play standard 12 gas, and on a map that's 5 players, the 12 Nexus is not going to get scouted often first. Now 12 gas is a good, well, it's probably the best opener that you can have versus 12 Nexus because you can actually go and kill it. But because this is a 5-player map, and I don't know actually how often Rush pulls versus a 12 Nexus, this may just be the perfect opener for YSC. It all comes down to where does this SCV go. It's unfortunately going to bottom middle or bottom left, and that means this is going to be a last scouted 12 Nexus, and that's going to be a feels bad moment for Rush. And unless YSC gets scouted, he doesn't necessarily have to build Zealots. He may just end up going into straight goons if he never gets scouted. And you can see that Rush doesn't really know where to click to scout because his SCV went right here when we know that the spawn location is here. So you can see that both of these players, or at least Rush, has not played this map very much at all. Probably hasn't played this map ever. This was a special show match set up by StarcastTV to play on these foreign made maps. Now, what I'm most curious in is, are we going to see drops? Because out of all the maps so far, I think that this is the best map to go for drops because your main has tons of drop locations. You can drop on the high ground at the third. You can drop, you know, coming through the back into the main here, along the side. Like, there's tons and tons of drop locations. So I actually think that we're probably just going to see another factory command center starport follow-up. And as I was saying, when you are Protoss and you don't get scouted very fast, you can power pretty hard. We have cybernetics coming in. He's also only stayed on 1 gate. He is going to build a Zealot just in case, but a lot of times Protoss players have to build 2 gate, 2 Zealots to fend off a SCV pull plus Marines. Now, Rush, he's actually not going for the starport. This is going to be an FD, or it could be a strong FD with like an overwhelming amount of Marines. So I have to wait and see exactly what it is, because so far it looks like it's just 1 base. We even have started to mine more gas. So is it going to be delayed second factory? Is this just going to be for tank and mines at the same time? It's more than likely just going to be tank and mines at the same time. Now, how many Marines does he want to build? Because really you don't see this very often. The standard FD push is 5 Marines, but there's a 6th one. SCV does come in and see the bad news that, I just got mega blind countered. Second gate is coming in. 12 Nexus is already done. He does not have that many units just now, but the Zealot can soak up a lot of hits. All that YSC really needs is he needs to get a Robo, or he needs to get a 3rd gate. Either one of those is just going to be fantastic. Now, Dragoon is coming across the map, and it is imperative that he gets a count on these Marines, because if he sees 6 Marines, he knows what's coming. Dragoon taking a lot of damage, even taking armored or health damage right there, down to 55 health. And this is going to be, I thought, a very weak opener from Rush, and now all of a sudden it's a very strong opener because we only have 2 goons, 1 Zealot. 3rd and 4th goon have just started. This is 6 Marines, 1 tank, probes being pulled, a drill actually into the main with the SCVs. But the SCVs, do they get a good good wall off? It doesn't look like it. A lot of the Marines already going down. The goons are trying to take down the tank. Probes are trying to surround it too. But can they get it? It's so low. Oh, it does not fall. And now, with the probes all going down, mine set up, no robotics. Oh, I think Rush is actually just going to kill this Nexus. I've never seen an FD kill a 12 Nexus like this. But I guess the SCVs were just exactly what he needed to make it work. And now the SCV, or the tank, has been repaired to full health. YSC is trying to save this Nexus, but it cannot be saved. It would be almost suicide to send these goons down without an observer. And behind this, we have Rush just going into command center follow-up. He's sending back his SCV, so his econ is still strong. This has got to be a support bay. There it is. There's no way that YSC can get back into this game by just going for observer. So he is going to go for the support bay, and we should see a starport for Rush now. The only way that YSC can come back is with a replay. And on this map, building turrets, they're not going to be enough. You're going to have to build like 8 turrets to defend every single drop location. So I'm really hoping we see that starport come in soon, because support bay is done. Oh my god, triple command center. Rush, my man. Triple command center is great, but you just did a ton of damage to the Protoss. I think this is a bit of an overstep to go this hard on Econ. Of course, if it goes unpunished, he's going to have a ridiculous amount of units in the next few minutes. But there's the eBay, and I really wish this had been a starport. We're going to have to build a turret here, 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 and here. That's like 10 turrets. Meanwhile, Reaver's about to come out. It's going to be double Zealot, one Reaver. I don't see speed coming in, but he doesn't really need it. And Shuttle's going to go to the bottom side. Vulture will not intercept it. Oh my god, it goes unscouted. He just missed it. And look at our main. There's nothing there. All of the units for Rush are out onto or at the natural. Well, he actually has 2 tanks back at his own nat. But here comes that drop. It's 1 Reaver, 2 Zealots. Luckily for Rush, the Reaver didn't unload in the mineral line. But turret's not done. I don't think we even have siege mode. Okay, there's siege mode. So that's gonna be fine. Reaver hasn't done that much damage. He does pick off a tank. He did pick off 1 SCV and 1 turret. But other than that, really not a lot of damage done, despite there being minimal defense. Reaver tries to get a shot off, takes out 1 SCV there. But this is what YSC needed to get back into the game. But he still needs to get a few more SCV kills. He's going to come in here, not find any success at the nat. Turret's almost done in the main. And I think he's just going to back off now. I don't think he can get anything else done with this 1 Reaver. And the 3rd command center is up and running for Rush. So despite having to SCV pull quite a bit, he's got killer econ. He's got 40 SCVs to 30 probes. There's only 2 gates still. There's really no way for YSC to punish any of these bases. The power generator and mineral line is going to prevent any of the units just running straight up to the 3rd base. So even something like 1 tank can fend off a lot of units. So I don't know exactly what YSC should do, because this econ is just in tatters. And now he sees the bad news with the observer that, oh my god, this guy also just has a 3rd command center. So what can YSC do? I think his best answer is to take a Nexus, and that's what he does. But Rush, he's known to be hyper aggro. So we do have the armory coming in, but this might finally be the one game where he just powers and puts down about 9 factories all at once and then just runs you over. There's no 3rd gas at the 3rd base, so it would be a smart move to just go for that. You don't need to have +2 and +1 weapon and armor. But as I say that, there's the starport. I don't necessarily think he even needs this. Just spam out factories, but that's what he's going to go for. Now YSC has double Reaver. Unfortunately for him, the shuttle runs right over the mine at the nat. But he is going to try and find an opening into the top side of the map. There are a lot of depots here. There's only 1 turret. He needs to make sure to not take too much damage if he's going to go in. And he does not, so he does get pushed back for now. Is there enough of a hole? Okay, he finds a hole. He's going to take out this turret. Pick off a vulture, so that's nice. But he needs to just delay the push of Terran for like 5 minutes. And I don't think Reavers are enough to do that. Reaver goes down. There's only 1 remaining now. But at least YSC has confirmed that it's double armory. So he's going to be feeling confident that he can power quite a bit. He didn't get a count onto the factories just yet. If he had seen that it was only 2 factories, he'd be feeling really confident. But here come the factory flood. It's going to be 5. But like I said, we don't have a lot of gas, so I'm actually surprised that we went into double armory. Go 1-1 with a starport. There's no science facility anywhere, so this may just be a flat out 1-1 timing. Here come the 7 factories or 8 factories that I was expecting to see a couple minutes ago. But overall, I don't think it's a huge deal, simply because we just have such good econ. But here comes YSC. How many tanks do we actually have? There's 3 in the main. There's actually only 1 on high ground and 1 at the natural. So really not that much defense. but I don't think the goons can do anything. It's not like he should be able to attack into here and really get much done. But that is a decent amount of goons. It's 12 goons versus 1 tank, 2 tanks. Dropship has come out and try and, I guess, go to the third base to see if he can find any success there. 4 vultures coming in, and this is why this particular map is so hard. 1 tank on the high ground, just sit behind the power generator, can get off pot shots. Reaver's going to try and deal some damage. Meanwhile, drop into the third base, going to shut down this mineral line, and YSC's all in. He's got a Reaver. Oh, it's stuck behind his mineral line in the main. He only has 7 gates. Power generator is still up, and he just taps out. He knows he's too far behind, so it's going to be Rush taking the series 2-1. Really looked like he was going to win 3-0, but YSC with a very nice play in the first game, and really it was just the vulture drops did too much damage throughout every single game. First game and second game, huge losses. Vulture drop at the end was going to deal a lot of damage, but we just ended up dying to an FD. But that's going to be it for this cast. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned to see another cast in the near future.